Yesterday we had the announcement from the Prime Minister Keir Starmer that Britain would be recognising a Palestinian state. We've already seen a flag being raised at the Palestinian now embassy in London. This has been seen as a reward, a victory by Hamas for the October the 7th massacre and the continued holding of hostages and waging war against Israel. We're told that's not the case by the Prime Minister, but maybe Hamas sees it differently, and certainly many others do. One of the people who may well see it differently is my next guest. He is Ilay David. He's the brother of the current hostage still being held in Hamas tunnels, Evyatar David. Very good, it's terrible to say good afternoon to you, but good day to you, Ilay. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Julia.
Look, a lot of people don't want to show the footage while you are on air, for obvious reasons. We've shown it to our audience already, those who are watching on YouTube. The footage of your brother held captive for almost 2 years now, emaciated, looking incredibly weak, being forced to dig what he said was his own grave by Hamas for a propaganda video put out at the beginning of last month. What was your reaction to Britain, Australia, Canada, France today recognising the state of Palestine?
Thank you, Julia. To put things in a bit of more context, Evyatar was taken from the Nova Music Festival. It was a festival which invited people from all nations to come. More than 20 different nationalities came to rave in this festival. Evyatar was 22 back then, in the age where you go to a festival and travel the world and experience and start your life. He came there with his friends and he was kidnapped, and he's still being held, tortured in the dungeons, the tunnels of Hamas in Gaza, like dozens of others. And as you said, we saw Evyatar that emaciated, and I truly thank you for not putting it right now on, because I cannot watch those photos.
I can't imagine.
Evyatar was barely recognizable by me, by my parents, by my sister. He was starved intentionally by his captors. So it's not because they have no food. Those terrorists have plenty of food. They are just deciding who gets it and who doesn't.
And many released hostages have testified that they would eat that their captors would eat full meals in front of them, and then they'd get half a bit of pita bread between, 4 of them.
Correct. And my brother was a healthy man, a masculine guy, just trying to have fun and do his own music.
Festival. Well, indeed. I mean, I was in Israel a couple of weeks ago, and I went to the Nova Festival site. And the thing that struck me was not just the huge numbers of people who died or were taken hostage from Nova, but these beautiful young people, and your brother among them. There's these beautiful young people in the prime of their life, some of them the age of my own child, just at a party, and then this horror happened. What is your reaction then, knowing that these conditions were put on Israel that they had to agree to, or there would be recognition of a Palestinian state, but no conditions on Hamas, because Hamas is still holding your brother, and we think another 19 people still alive, and another 20-odd bodies of hostages they took, still holding them, still using their own people as a shield, still threatening Israel. What do you make of the decision by Britain, supposedly an ally, to recognise a Palestinian state while your brother is still being starved and tortured underground?
So as we can tell, Hamas is celebrating this decision. And if Hamas is celebrating that decision, probably it's bad for my brother, it's bad for the other hostages, it's bad for the Palestinians themselves. How cynical it is, how cruel it is. Their logic is just not like our Western logic. So they see this recognition as something good for them. It gives them the strength to be more stubborn at negotiations, and it makes the lives of the Gazans more miserable, and it makes my life more miserable, and they have more time to torture my kid brother, my 24 years old brother, in the dungeons of Gaza.
Do you think this has emboldened Hamas? Because we know that, we've had Hamas leaders, not just in the last 24 hours, but even when this was first mooted a couple of months ago, that this would happen with these conditions on Israel, that we had Hamas leadership, celebrating, saying, this is a victory, this is a reward for, it justifies what we did on October the 7th.
Sadly, the only thing that Hamas understands, and that's what we saw up until that point, 2 years in that very painful journey, we saw that they only understand pressure. They understand military pressure, they understand political pressure and economical pressure. And then those are the channels we should focus on. And in the short term, we have to make sure we do everything to get rid of this evil and get back our hostages and also make the future of the Gazans better. And that will happen only when the hostages will come back. So we have to be very focused on this issue. And after that, on the long term, it's not my job, but leaders around the world, as much as the UK can bring a political solution, a long-term solution, a peace treaty, if you'd like, for the region, for Gaza, and for Israel.
We're often told here in the West and in the UK particularly, that your Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, is very unpopular, that many of the hostage families think that he's part of the problem in terms of negotiations to get your loved ones home. And there's lots of disagreement in Israel. But one of the things I found when I was in Israel was how huge the agreement was on the importance of getting the hostages home. You can't walk past a street corner without seeing yellow ribbons, bring them home, waitresses in the restaurants wearing those T-shirts, the names and the faces of the hostages, and particularly those remaining, like your younger brother, they are everywhere. They are staring at you everywhere you go. This is a whole nation sort of will to get your loved ones home, isn't it? The nation is behind you on this.
It is, and I believe also the free world should be behind us in this issue.
We should.
And this other issue of the conflict, it cannot be, and this war, it cannot be on the back of my brother and the back of the other dozens of hostages held by Hamas right now. And it is I think, the most consensual thing right now in Israel. We have to bring back the hostages.
What is your message to our Prime Minister Keir Starmer today? He's patting himself on the back. He's doing the right thing for peace. He thinks that, this is going to bring about, an end to all the many long-term difficulties and problems in the Middle East. What would you say to him today?
I want him to say the same things to my mother, to look in her eyes and to say the same thing to her. I want him to look at my brother's picture from that grave he dug to himself, look in his eyes, and then in my mother's eyes, and tell her the same things. I want him to meet with us, to meet with me, and tell us the same things.
And what would you say back to him?
That he should listen to us more, and he should be, as the one of the greatest democracies in the Western world, he needs to be right now back to back with us and support us, the families, to the very end until all hostages are coming back home.
I mean, I absolutely couldn't agree with you more. I so appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. I know how hard this is. Ilay David, brother of the Israeli hostage Evyatar David, really appreciate you joining us.